Yo, what's going on? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. Hey, check it out, yo. So this is a new series, and this episode is brought to you by the Really Hood Podcast. All right, there it is, Really Hood Podcast, reallyhood.com. Go check both of them out. Um, I do commentary similar to this, so why not go check it out and let me know what you think. But yes, this is a new series that I'll be doing on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe now because every week I'll have some things I want to talk about. And in this episode, I want to look at every couple and have some real dialogue about, what I think about the couples. Every year I watch this show. I guess I should have been doing this a long time ago. And I guess just recently, since I've been doing recaps on my favorite shows, why not this one? I watch this show like all the time, every season. But we got five couples, and as you know, we are in Tennessee. And the first couple I want to talk about is McKinley and Dominique. Now, if you don't know what this couple looks like, I do have my phone nearby. All right, this is pretty hood, ghetto, if you want to call it that. No problem. All right, there it is. Okay. Yes, this is the interracial couple. Now, I will be doing these live. That way you can chime in and give me your thoughts and opinions on what I'm saying and what you've seen on the show itself. So yeah, if you were here right now, you could jump into the comments section. I will read what you were going to say or what you were saying. But this is the interracial couple, and I like the dynamic here. I believe it's Dominique. Dominique is someone who was raised by a African American mother and I believe a white father. And as far as McKinley, he is rather successful. So I dubbed them the interracial couple for obvious reasons. Now, when it comes to McKinley, he seems to be someone who's pretty quiet. In fact, this episode talks about how quiet he is quite a bit. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't get good energy from McKinley. I feel like I know people like McKinley. All right. And I'm not sure how that comes across, but that is how I feel, right? He seems like someone who's going to change later in the season. We've seen this before. I've seen his character before on the show, not only in real life, but on the show. I don't know what season it was, but there was a season where it was this tall guy. I think his name was Chris, maybe. White guy, basketball player. He seemed pretty cool and he was quiet. But throughout the season, he really did the girl wrong. He was cheating on her. There were rumors about him being with other women. He wasn't coming home. I feel like McKinley will fit in that bracket, and I hope I'm wrong, obviously, but I think that that's the bracket that he'll fit into. So here's what I think about McKinley. I think McKinley is someone who's going to be a little volatile. All right, I think he's going to be volatile. All right, I think he's going to be that person. I think he's quiet for a reason. And if you look at Dominique, who I believe is going to be too much for McKinley to stay reserved, I believe that Dominique will bring out some of the negative qualities. And McKinley, this is my opinion. Again, if you feel differently, that's why you're supposed to be here and you're supposed to be pushing back. But I think that Dominique is going to be a little too sassy. She also put on her best face. And that's what I'm trying to do if you can't figure it out. I'm trying to look past the representation that people are trying to put forth. That's what happens on the first episode. People try to show the best versions of themselves. And I'm trying to peel back and look behind the curtains like, hey, I see you, Wizard of Oz. I know who you really are. So when I see McKinley, he keeps telling us he's quiet. And the funny and ironic part about that, a quiet person doesn't tell you much at all. So the fact he keeps telling us that tells me that's what he wants to be. That's what he desires to be, not necessarily what he is. And as far as Dominique, a lot of smiles, a lot of bubbliness, which tells me she's pretty emotional. And she'll also be the exact opposite once she's, not in a good space. Like if McKinley says something to her based on how sassy she appears to be, I personally think that that's going to be a recipe for disaster. I would like to give my results here and let me know how you feel about this in the comment section, however you want to do it. But I do not see that this is going to work. First off, McKinley, I think, is going to, at some point in this season, and mark my words, I'm usually pretty decent with predicting some of this stuff on the show because I've seen these shows so many times and I study people just in my daily life in general. But I think at some point we're going to see the real McKinley. I think McKinley's going to show us that, hey, he is kind of a douche. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not sure that I am. And I think Dominique at some point in this season is going to show a lot of sass. And I think that's going to be like oil and water together. And I believe that this relationship will ultimately end in a divorce. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying it now. I just don't see it working. She's too young. She says that she typically dates older men because she want someone who's emotionally mature, but I'm not sure that she's as mature as she expects her partner to be, if that makes sense. So for McKinley and Dominique, I'm going to go with a 2 thumbs down. I don't see it happening. All right, the next couple that I would like to talk about is Christopher and Nicole. Now, if you don't know what Christopher and Nicole look like, there is a picture of those two beautiful couple, right? All right, so I have dubbed this couple the shy and explosive. Okay, this is the shy and explosive couple. Let's just start off. Let's just jump right in. I'm trying to be very diplomatic here, but I'm gonna just jump in. And Christopher, man, he is very timid. He is someone who is extremely nice, and I know that is supposed to be a positive trait, and it is. But we're talking about women, and the more that I've researched women and studied women, the more I'm starting to understand their psyche. A lot of women, not all, they don't want a man that is a pushover. They don't want someone who they can nudge and who won't bite back. They want a guy who's going to give as good as he takes. They don't want someone who's abusive, but they want somebody who's going to, have something to say in terms of, yeah, like they want some kind of pushback. They want some kind of argument. I believe that to be true, and that's based on years of research. We wonder why, in a lot of cases, we see women with guys who just appear to be bad boys, women who seem to be enjoying a relationship with somebody that seems to be volatile, someone who is not a nice person. It's because a lot of times women desire that. I'm not sure why. It's just a weird psyche thing. And then it's funny because as women mature and get older, they tend to gravitate towards nicer guys. But it's not until they've went through a ton of bad guys first. So when I see a guy like Christopher, I'll be honest with you, he's too timid, he's too nice. And you have to keep one thing in focus here. These people are single. So that tells you that they haven't been able to find love. And they haven't been able to find love on their own. So we have to always come in with, or I should say for myself, I always look at these couples through that lens. These have been individuals who have failed at relationships. And I think I can pinpoint the reasons why. Christopher's too nice. So either he's too shy to talk to women, he's too shy to express himself and open up to women. So that's going to always be a factor. And dare I say, he's probably boring for women. They don't find, the fact that he doesn't push back and he's so nice and he's afraid to offend, that might not be what a woman wants. As far as Nicole, oh my gosh, where do I start? So if Christopher is timid, then certainly Nicole is just too much. Okay, and I understand that she's in marketing. I understand that she's in advertising, so that is a part of her career and something that she is quite vast in. So I understand it from that viewpoint. You want to be someone as a marketer that is very conversational, someone that is exciting because that brings people to your brand. Probably the opposite of what I do. That's probably why I have no success. Maybe I should be more bubbly, but there is a fine line between being bubbly and crossing the line. And for me, Nicole crosses that line hand and feet. She's just like really, really too much. And I understood the dynamic when it comes to Dr. Pepper and I forget Pastor Cal when they're trying to find these couples. I understand the dynamic that they're trying to play with. They're saying, hey, he's quiet, she's very loud. This is going to work. But that doesn't always make sense. That's like saying, hey, he's a dog, she's a cat. Perfect. No, opposites are not always the answer, right? Not always. And I think in this case, this is going to be a bad science experiment. So if you want to know what I think is going to happen with this couple, I'll keep it very simple with you. They're going to get a divorce. All right. I believe that he'll feel like he can't express himself, can't say what he wants to say, and then he'll also find her to be too much. Now, if that is his personality, which is being quiet and timid and kind of shy, then certainly he might appreciate somebody who shares those type of characteristics and traits. Nicole, it's not even so much that she is, conversational. Nicole is over the top. And I think that is the part that's going to catch Christopher off guard. Now, sure, if she talks a lot, she likes to conversate, that's one thing. But if you watch the episode that I'm talking about, Marry Me in Tennessee, if you saw the episode that I saw, episode 1, she was always on level 10. And I hope that she was playing up for the cameras, and that is not her real personality. Most likely it isn't. Most likely she's more calm in different pockets. But I have to go off what I see as of this moment. And if that is who she is, that is going to be a very, very rocky road to traverse for Christopher. So for me, I'm gonna go with no. All right, the next episode, I'm gonna say Eris. I want to say his name is Eris and Jasmine. Okay, if you don't know what Eris and Jasmine look like, this is a picture of them. Okay, there they are. Now, in case you were wondering or you are a little bit nervous about me just giving everybody a thumbs down, obviously that won't be the case because of this couple. All right, I have dubbed this couple the balanced couple. They seem to be the couple that makes sense on paper. They make sense in a photograph. If you show me those two individuals side by side, they make sense there. They just make sense from top to bottom. And let's go into the actual individuals. All right, when it comes to Jasmine, she is down to earth. I like this woman. She is a cheerleader coach. You saw her working with children of all ethnicities. You saw her always, flipping, so she's in shape. And it's really cool to see a woman who can show off her athletic side. And we're not talking about just throwing the punch or shooting or swinging a racket. She's flipping, so that's clearly she's athletic. She probably also is very, diverse in her ability to dance. Okay, so she's very down to earth. Now, she's also a pageant queen. And usually when you're talking about pageant queens, red flags tend to go up like, oh, here we go, drama. But she wasn't like that. When she was doing her interview, she was incredibly easy to talk with. She wasn't, crazy. I didn't get any weird vibes as she was discussing her points and her views and her, ideologies. She seemed to be very down to earth. And I think Dr. Pepper used those exact words, down to earth. And that's why I am willing to say that she's a good catch. Okay, now when we get to Eris, I don't know how to pronounce his name just yet. I haven't watched enough of this season. I'm going to go with Eris. But as we get to him, he's the cool guy. Now, I did get a few red flags from him, and mind you, it's mainly because he comes across as a reformed player, and I don't like those kind of guys when it comes to marriage. I think that those kind of guys, they are trying to put their best foot forward, but marriage is not experimental. Marriage is not a space in which you test out, whether or not you're still a player. Like this, that's not where this happens. So I'm hoping that he's had relationships in which he's been faithful to at least his last two girlfriends. I'm hoping that that is true. And we have to keep something right in the center of focus. He was single upon entering this show, and I think I know why. I don't think that he's been someone who can, show consistency in the realm of loyalty and things like that, the things that a husband needs to be. And I still feel, though, that Jasmine will command respect, and I think that Eris will likely elevate himself to meet Jasmine at the level that she deserves to be at. So for me, I'm going to say that this couple, very surprisingly, will stay married. Okay, I think they're going to actually make it. I think they're going to stay married, and it's mainly because Jasmine is such a strong force within that relationship. A lot of times when it comes to these relationships, it's one partner a lot of times that's more dominant in terms of keeping things stable, and then the other partner has to kind of get it together. I am a little worried about Eris, but Jasmine, I'm really holding out faith that she's going to get him in shape. I think she's more emotionally mature than Eris is. All right, the next couple I would like to talk about is Clint and Gina. All right, if you don't know what this couple looks like, here is a photo of them, Clint and Gina. All right, so I have dubbed this couple the movie marriage. These are the individuals who come across to me as very staged. They come across to me as people who have, they know exactly who they are. This is the older couple of the season. So being older tells me that they're more seasoned and they know exactly who they are. They understand, they know how to present themselves well. They're pretty well established. And I also dubbed them the movie marriage because they both seem to be in good spaces in their career. When we're talking about Clint, he seems to be very financially stable. At least he appears to be. I'm not sure of his financial situation, but every time we saw Clint, he looked pretty slick. And he was next to yachts and boats and things like that. He was doing something adventurous, and that type of lifestyle does command financial stability. So I feel like Clint, from a just observational standpoint, seems to be pretty well balanced. Now, when I looked at Gina, she was also in a great space financially. At least it appeared that way because she's a boss. She has her own I want to say salon or shop. So she has a entrepreneurial spirit, and I like that about Gina. However, let's break down these individuals individually. All right, when we look at Clint, he's adventurous. I think that that's a positive trait. I think that that was something that I could appreciate. I like the fact that he wouldn't be someone who's going to sit at home, kind of like I do, and be on the internet. He seems like somebody who wants to do things. And as far as Gina is concerned, I like the fact that she was a boss. She's pretty authoritarian. I like the fact that she seems to command respect. Um, but that's about where the positivity stops for me. I think that this couple will be the worst couple of the season. It's going to be either one or the other for me. I'm not sure which side of the spectrum things will fall on. I think it's either going to be a disaster or it's going to be very, very good because if they can find, the equal ground between those two and not sabotage the relationship, because again, we have to stay in the right lens. These are two older people who have not found love yet. And for me, that is a telltale sign that something's wrong there. All right, when I look at Gina, let me go ahead and just put it out. She looks very bossy, not from a good standpoint this time. I think she's going to be somebody who's very pushy. She's going to try to control and dominate Clint. And I don't think Clint is the type of guy that's going to be okay with that because, again, he's adventurous. He doesn't like to be contained. And I think because of those factors, this relationship won't last. Okay, next, I want to talk about Shaquille and Kirsten. Okay, if you don't know what that couple looks like, all right, this is the couple here. I have dubbed this couple unpredictable. This is the unpredictable couple. This couple can either go one way or the other, kind of like Clint and Gina. You don't really know what you're going to get. Now, let's look at these two people individually. First off, as for Shaquille, he is a handsome gentleman type. He's very clean, all right? And I think that that goes a long way when you're talking about a relationship with anyone. If you're in a relationship with someone, it doesn't hurt that they're organized. It doesn't hurt that they're handsome. It doesn't hurt that they're organized and they have things together. I think he talked about being financially stable. So he checks off a lot of boxes. Clean. I don't think he has kids. Decent looking and, financially stable. He works at a university. He has a job. He's educated. So a lot of boxes are clicked off there. Okay. And then we look at Kirsten. Kirsten is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, by far for me, based on the type of woman I like to look at aesthetically, she is the most appealing of all the women on the show. All right, she's extremely beautiful. Okay, extremely beautiful. But I think that what comes with that beauty is a certain pretentiousness. I feel like she may be. I hate to say this, but I believe I'm going to get some social media Kirsten on this season, or within this season. I think Kirsten will be in some ways the typical social media beauty, right? She's very beautiful. She probably gets tons of likes on social media. I haven't checked online, but I'm sure she has IG. I'm pretty sure she had, body revealed in certain places. And I think that those particular traits and that particular mindset that has become so normalized, I think that that doesn't fare well in marriage, especially with someone like Shaquille, who seems to be someone who will expect a certain type of wife, meaning that she won't be available for all eyes to see. Okay. And I think that might be an issue. It's unpredictable to me because I don't know which side of the spectrum this is going to fall on. Either Shaquille and Kirsten are going to work perfectly together because Kirsten is very beautiful, she's intelligent, she's educated, and she appeared to be financially stable in the show. And then Shaquille seems to be the exact same. So on paper, they seem to match very well. But I also see the other side of this particular dynamic. I feel like Shaquille, though he does present himself a certain way, he came across as very soft to me. All right. And I don't mean it to be negative, but he came across to me as very, very pushy and soft, like mushy. Like you can just touch his arm and just mushes like a marshmallow. That's what he came across to me. Though he tries to put forth a more tough exterior, I could see past that. I'm like, this guy doesn't. Like Kirsten's gonna eat this guy alive. And then as for Kirsten, she comes across as very pretentious, but I think that she might be a little insecure. I think that that might come through. I think she might be a little volatile in terms of attitude. I'm expecting to see that, but I'm not sure exactly what version of these two people we're going to get in totality. But if I had to guess, I'm going to say that these two will find a way to make it work because they're educated, they're smart. And again, a lot of boxes on both sides are checked off. And a lot of times in a relationship or a marriage, if a lot of the boxes are checked, that is usually enough to make both parties say, wait a minute, let's slow down. When things get bad, those boxes being checked kind of, help you pull through rough times. It's like, yeah, her breath stank, but she got a job. It's a good job. Oh, and she's nice, and she's this, and she's educated. That usually helps couples stay together when a lot of boxes are checked. What usually crashes relationships is when it's like her breath stink. She ain't got no job. She she don't clean up after herself. She keep the toilet seat up. She just does a lot of things I don't. If so, it's like the fact that there's so many unchecked boxes. It's easier to leave that person. And I think in this case, both parties have a lot of boxes checked. She's beautiful. Come on. It's a lot of boxes checked here. So I think they'll find a way to make it through. Now I do want to make a quick statement about McKinley and Dominique. And if you don't know what couple I'm talking about, it is this couple. All right. The interracial couple. And I hate to keep saying that, and it's the last time I'll say it. Probably not. But the point is, I did say that I think that they will ultimately result in a divorce. But I want to quickly add a little caveat because I believe they will stay married on the show. But I think when we do a recap or when we do the reunion show, you will see that these two don't make it. Okay. So I think they'll stay married for the show. So if we get to the end of the season and it's like, hey, Rick, you picked that wrong. Well, wait a minute. Here's my caveat. I think they're going to make it. But I also think that they won't survive when the cameras leave. Because I think at that point, McKinley will be free to be his full self. And same for Dominique. I think she'll also show that immaturity, being a little bit younger, a lot younger, 25. I mean, at 25, come on now. We've all seen ourselves at 25 as not the best picture. So I think that will certainly play a factor. But anyway, that is all that I want to say about episode 1. I will be back on episode 2. And I will be ready to discuss, the drama. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and all that kind of cool stuff. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in and peace.